Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The government has prepared a draft of a new defence law that will regulate the development of the Polish army in the coming years. The draft was presented today by the head of the ruling Law and Justice Party, Jarosław Kaczyński, and Defence Minister Mariusz Błaszczak. According to the plan, the number of soldiers will increase and a cyber defence force will be created. Deputy Prime Minister Jarosław Kaczynski, responsible for questions relating to national security, stated that the draft law was created because the old defence law dates back to 1967 and because the international security situation has deteriorated. A country which is located on the borders of NATO and the European Union must have significant capabilities of deterrence and, if needed, hopefully it will never happen, it must be able to efficiently defend itself from an attack. The new law includes an increase in defence spending, an increase in the number of soldiers serving, and better training for the army. We will have 250,000 regular soldiers and a volunteer force consisting of 50,000 troops as a minimum. They will all be equipped with modern weapons. The new law will also mean that foreigners who cross into the country illegally will be banned from Poland and their personal information will be stored in databases for the future. On Tuesday, Russia recorded 1,106 COVID-19 deaths in the past 24 hours, the highest figure since the start of the pandemic, amid a surge in new cases that has prompted authorities to reimpose partial lockdown measures. Starting on the first week of November, Russian workers will stay home in a nationwide workplace shutdown. The daily death toll has hit new records in 6 of the past 8 days. The state COVID-19 task force also reported 36,446 new infections, compared with 37,930 a day earlier. I was among the first ones to do the first round of vaccination. No need to wait too long for the second one. It's been half a year since then, so I am a happy holder of the new QR code. I can now go anywhere that is closed for those who are not in the system. The capital city Moscow will reimpose a partial lockdown from the 28th of October, with only essential shops like pharmacies and supermarkets allowed to remain open, as Moscow reported 6,074 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. I don't want to get sick. I want to be healthy, and I want to be able to visit all the places in the city without having to stay at home. They are imposing the lockdown. Yes, of course, it's necessary to limit the people so that we can go through these hard times to be alive and in good health. Authorities have blamed the rising deaths and infections on slow vaccination rates. As an incentive, President Vladimir Putin has ordered that people who get injections should be given 2 paid days off work. A Dutch appeals court has ruled that a collection of ancient Crimean gold artefacts, claimed both by Ukraine and the museums in the Russian-annexed peninsula, should be returned to the Ukrainian state. The pieces, including a solid gold Scythian helmet and a golden neck ornament, each weighing more than 1 kilogram, were on display in the Netherlands when Russia annexed the peninsula from Ukraine in 2014. In reading a summary of the decision, presiding judge Pauline Hofmeier-Rutten said that the national culture interests of Ukraine outweigh those of the museums in Crimea. The ruling may be appealed before the Dutch Supreme Court.
The Court of Appeal now rules that the rights of the Ukrainian state, based on the law on museums regulation on the order, take precedence. The contractual obligation cannot be performed. On the basis of a provision of Ukrainian law, the APM is no longer obliged to return the objects to the Crimean museums. APM asked for a declaratory judgment to that effect, and this has been granted.
Russia's annexation of Crimea drew Western sanctions. Western countries and most of the rest of the world recognise the Black Sea Peninsula as Ukrainian, and Kiev wants the territory returned. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has welcomed the decision. I am confident that just like we have returned the Scythian gold today, we will return our people and our temporarily occupied territories. The Foreign Minister of Ukraine continues its work in the international courts and keeps pushing for Russia to be held accountable for its actions. A lower court in 2016 had also ordered the Dutch Museum to return the archaeological treasures, which include gems, helmets and scabbards, to Ukraine's government rather than the 4 museums that had lent them out, but following a different line of reasoning. France has decided to take further steps to protect its book industry against the rise of Amazon. There is already a law in place which prohibits price discounting on new books, but a new law will target the e-commerce giant's ability to undercut on shipping costs. Sophie Fournayron, who runs the Canal bookstore in central Paris, now hopes that new legislation that would set a minimum price floor for book deliveries will further even the contest in the battle of neighbourhood stores against Amazon. I believe it's not so much about the earnings that it could bring to independent bookstores, but rather about bringing back balance in the spirit of the 2014 law that limits online booksellers from offering free shipping costs, knowing that online retailers, especially Amazon, could not offer free shipping because that would be unfair to bookstores who have to pay shipping costs. But this 2014 law has been evaded by Amazon, since they make customers pay shipping costs of only 1 cent. So this is a fair return to a level playing field and to equity. Amazon said the legislation, adopted by Parliament but not yet enacted, would punish those in rural areas who cannot easily visit a bookstore. More than 20% of the 435 million books sold in France in 2019 were bought online, and the market share of France's 3,300 independent bookstores has been slowly declining because of competition from online retailers like Amazon, FNAC and Leclerc. Support from President Emmanuel Macron helped push the legislation, which the Minister of Culture calls crucial for France.
An operator is
systematically offering nearly free shipping for books, whatever the amount or the total price of the order, and no other actors could offer such a bargain to readers. This extraordinary fee policy, this strange generosity, this operators make us think that it's only for the books. This commercial practice we are talking about, what this bill seeks to prohibit, undoubtedly constitutes a new form of competition through prices that no longer allows the 1981 law to be fully efficient. French law prohibits free book deliveries, but Amazon has circumvented this by charging a single cent. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But for our mates, have a good night and a better tomorrow.